Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to all, to our honorable speaker, Dr. Dolly, and all participants. Thank you for joining our workshop entitled Teaching Excellence Sharing Teaching Assessment Practice. So, first and foremost, I would like to introduce our honorable speaker, Dr. Dolly Carlo is a senior lecturer in social work studies program, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, UNIMAS. Before joining academia in 2002, he practiced as a senior social worker in the Salvation Army Community Services Centre in Sarawak, Malaysia, which in Salvation Army, it is included the boys' home and children's home for 4 years, and also involved in community work-related AIDS awareness program in Southeast Asia regions. His expertise is in social work, and area studies are assessment in social work, school social work, children and family, counseling, youth, aging, community work, child welfare and disabled, marginalized and minorities community. He is also the recipient of a Teaching Assessment Practice Award on Semester 1 Session 2020-2021. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Dolly to start his sharing. So I pass to you, Dr. Dolly.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Novatlina, for the introduction about myself. Yeah. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you to come for inviting me, and also as a moderator today, Dr. Novatlina, and through our chatting before that, I always postponed the date due to the other commitment. At least it become today. Yeah. So if you can see that before I'm joining UNIMAS, actually I've been in the field. Yeah, I'm a practitioner social worker before. So what I would like to share today is not assessment in the context of social work, yeah, because assessment in the context of social work, it is about if it's similar than doctor, but we didn't use that term. We use assessment. We use the term the doctor used is diagnose. Yeah, we use assessment. But in this particular context, okay, is about how I design, yeah, how I apply my assessment in the context of teaching. Yeah, if you can see that the title that I put it here is teaching assessment, because I'm thinking assessment is not just part of we evaluate the student, their progress or performance, but I put in the way that assessment actually is part of teaching also. Yeah, maybe at the end you can see what I'm trying to say or talking about today. Yeah, I'm from a social work studies program in Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. Okay, my presentation of the topic that I'm going to present today is first is I'm talking about assessment, my sharing focus and assessment strategy, integrated assessment, underlying points and conclusion. Yeah, I hope that all the participants who are involved today bear with me, and if you have any question, I'm most welcome to interrupt me, because sometimes people said that bila kita bercakap kita sok sendiri, ya, kita lupa, ya. So it's possible that try to if unclear my explanation. Okay, so when we're talking about assessment, yeah, it is like what I said just now. I'm not talking about assessment in the context of a social work, but it is in the context of our how we conduct our assessment toward our student, yeah, based to measure the progress of performance of individual student. And on top of that, actually, we are, because if you can see that at the end of every semester, we need to feel our is it the CLO been achieved or not? Yeah, that is how actually we're looking at, is it what I did with my course, the evaluation, the assessment that I did to my student, is it good enough or not? Is it I do measure the progress of performance? So that is also on top, as I mentioned just now, is a step for improving our teaching and learning. Yeah. So there is, if you look at the literature, there is a variety of methods or tools used to evaluate, yeah, to measure and document the academic readiness, learning progress, skill acquisition, and educational need of learners. Yeah. In this context, I am only looking at the course that I've been teaching, yeah, for many years, yeah, because I'm joining UNIMAS since 2002, during that time as a tutor, yeah. So again, there is a large body of research showing that a strong impact of different type of assessment on learners' learning outcome. Like what I'm saying just now, when we need to look at learning outcome. Is it what we measured? Is it what we expecting the learning outcome? That is the outcome of it, yeah. And it also determines whether or not the goal of education are being met. So if you can see the picture that I saw, is the goal is to measure the progress, to evaluate it. Yeah. So we at the end we see the result. The way we can see the performance of the student, how many A, B, C, and so on. But for me, I'm not looking into that. Yeah. I always looking at the CLO. Is it been achieved or not? Yeah. Because somehow the A, B, C, it's not really kind of, I'm not a person who really emphasize in academic. I really want, because in the context of social work, we want the student their skill, that in order for them, when they graduate from UNIMAS, they will be able to use it. So what I want to share today is, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to teach here. Actually, we all are learning, and I'm still learning. Like what I'm attending the webinar yesterday about the MQF, about the cluster 1, 2, and 3. When one of the speaker asking me, actually, I all of us, I believe that we like learning new thing. Yeah. So my sharing is how I design, yeah, implemented and used my assessment based on the course that is SSS 2053 counseling skill in the context of social work. Yeah. So the original of my topic, actually, when I sent to CAM for joining the Anugerah, that day is incorporating and integrating case study into assessment method as an opportunity of reflecting, learning, and bespeaking their thinking. So before I go on with another slide, when we're talking about assessment, we need to look at the big picture, yeah, the framework of it. Because in UNIMAS here, we have a course synopsis, that is course outline, yeah, of every courses we have course outline. And in the course outline, we have course synopsis. And also before beginning of the semester, when you are assigned to do to teach that course, yeah, where we need to do our course plan. And even in a course synopsis, we have the objective, that is a CLO, yeah. And in course plan, we have CLO. So we need to look, for me, how I do my assessment is I need to look at course synopsis. What is this course synopsis about? Yeah. So then I move on to design my course plan. Okay, how I do it, I look back again the CLO, because we want to measure the CLO when we conduct our assessment. And we have to remember that I don't know the other faculty, yeah, but in our practice in FSS, I believe also in all, yeah, we have continuous and also final assessment. But I don't know the percentage, yeah, like my course, continuous assessment will be 60% and final assessment will be 40%. Yeah. And we need to remind ourselves, final assessment, it doesn't mean must be final exam, yeah, final assessment. In any way we can conduct it. And also we have to remember, because I'm also a member of OPIC, yeah, maybe I believe that some of you also member of OPIC here. At the end also we need to be, somehow when the auditor, yeah, when the audit coming, is it which is for our assessment under the alternative assessment? Yeah, later I will explain on that also. And also I always keep in my mind that when I design my course plan, I look at my assessment, like what I said just now, look at the course synopsis, course plan, yeah, and then the percentage of it, and then alternative assessment. Also, I need to think about, need I do individually or the group, yeah? Through group. Is it might be in the group For example, because I'm also involved in Sulam. Sulam normally requirement from the captain need to be 4 members in the group. That is the numbers that they give. So is it I want them to do it as an individual? My course normally what I do is some in group, some as an individual, because I want to be the student to feel the experience how it need to be as a team in a group. And also I need to put in mind also we have a written or oral. Oral, what I mean here is that you need to conduct your assessment through a presentation. For example, if assignment, your assignment 1, assignment 2, and so on. So this is the thing that the framework that I always put in my mind when I conduct my assessment into my whatever respective courses that I am teaching. So now back to the counseling skill. Like I mentioned earlier just now, we will have our course synopsis, but I don't want to talk about the big picture when we're looking at the cluster, because I'm not expert in that. What I can say that because it also involves the MQF, which cluster, either cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, and cluster 4, because now I believe that most of the faculty involved in CRM, major review, curriculum review. So in this particular courses, because this is what been designed in the course outline, So this course, I think everybody know that SSS is stand for our court for social work, and the 2 in front is for second year student, and the number at the back 3 is the credit hours. And is it my screen is course outline now? Yeah. So if you can see the course synopsis here, it is mentioned that this course is designed to introduce the basic principle, concept, and skill of counseling, incorporating with counseling in social work. What we want, what this course want is the student will be able to use the basic, not the very difficult one, at least basic, how they need to use the technique in their communication, and be able for the student to communicate effectively. That is, we hope that the aim of the overall of this skill. And as I mentioned earlier just now, we have course plan. We course plan before the semesters, before our semester start, we need to look at how we plan, our CLO with our constructive alignment. If you can see, there is 4 course learning outcome of this course, to demonstrate, analyze, explain, and describe. The verb that you see, I need to look through on it. When we're talking about Bloom taxonomy, I'm not very expert in that. I believe that some of you know about that. The verb, I always look at the verb: demonstrate, analyze, explain, describe. And as I mentioned earlier just now, we have course assessment in our course plan, continuous assessment, and final assessment. In these particular courses, continuous assessment is 60% and final assessment is 40%. Then go to the course plan. This is we as a instructor or as a coordinator of the course. We plan how we're going to design to assess our student. If continuous assessment is 60%, if you look here, I have 1, 2, 3. That is continuous assessment. Assignment 1, written case study and dialogue. Assignment 2, recorded video role play. Assignment fall under continuous assessment also, presentation that is recorded video role play. And the last, my final assessment is individual reflection. Before I did conduct this course through exam, then I found out based on the evaluation from the student and based on the performance, it's not really so good, because I believe that the level of the student, that might be some of them, they are not really want to do as a final exam. So if you can see the CLO here for the assignment 1, I put 2 CLO. It's up to you. Some might be prefer 1 assignment to 1 CLO. It's up to you. But mine, I really want to be the particular assignment based on my experience, in particular final exam, if we just put one CLO, there is the dangers for the student to get to fail that course, because we alignment it with one CLO. I put it a variety so that the student, at least in certain part they are not good, and the certain part they are good. Okay. Okay, so far so good, yeah? Okay, next. So the course plan, this one we're familiar with it. Yeah, you see week 1, week 2, week 3, and until 4. Normally we have 14. The CLO that we are going to achieve, and the teaching learning activities, that the method, the delivering that we do, and what type of assessment is covered in this learning unit. Yeah. So I put the alternative assessment, as I mentioned earlier just now. We have authentic assessment, we have integrated assessment, we had contemporary assessment, profiling assessment. And because this is important for us also, but sometimes I did that before. Yeah, I forgot to tick it. But when come to the audit, where it's so that you are fall into under this alternative assessment, in particular when UPIC come. Yeah, so this is very important for us when we're talking about the HIPS FRC. Yeah, I hope that when I saying here HIPS and FRC, yeah, everyone know, yeah, high impact educational practice and future ready curriculum. So which one is our assessment for two? So if you can see here, the assignment 1, I put it integrated assessment, because mostly my assessment, yeah, it's a fall under integrated assessment. And next, okay, how I do, because for me, the assessment instruction is very important. Yeah, in order for the student to know what actually, how we measure them. Yeah, and what actually we measure. And normally for the first week already, after I explain what is the course outline for this course, I also mention to them straight what is the assessment, how I'm going to assess you. Yeah, because for me, this is a very important for us to explain to them how many percent that I'm going to assess you based on what. And I put the submission deadline, also week, I put the week, which week that I expected. Yeah, because I don't want the assignment to be submission deadline to be at the end, because that will be overloaded the lecturers to do their marking. Yeah, this is very important. And again, also we have to remember carry mark. We need to put it so that the student know that what is the carry mark they have through the continuous assessment, so that at least they can give concentration when the final exam. In particular, for those courses which is they have a final exam, for example. So I mentioned clearly in my assignment what they need to do. Is it in pair? Is it in group? If in group, how many of them? In this particular courses, I want them to be in pair. Why I want to be in pair? Because I want one person play the role as a social worker and one play the role as a client. Yeah, and if the numbers is let's say is need to be required that particular group to be 3 in group, it's okay, but they need to do that means that the client need to be 2, either between mother or father, or between son and daughter. Yeah, that one we need to think about it later, but I need to explain to them what is my requirement. What I want is they need to come out with a case study. Based on my experience, I give them a case study before. Yeah, because for me, assessment is evolving. Yeah, it's not static. It need to be dynamic from time to time. Before that, I give them a case study, but I feel that somehow, because somehow what we want sometimes, but what they want, we forgot about it. So based on what they choose, or based on their experience, the assignment that we want to be, that what we're expecting is, I can say that is very interesting, because based on the student experience, I believe that some of them, as a human being, we have so many issues surrounding us. We're facing a lot of difficulties, challenges in our life, in particular during this COVID situation. Yeah, from the case study, the student need to come up with a written dialogue conversation. That is what I want. Yeah, and then after that, when I explain what they need to do, because before that I need to have a lesson with them. I have a discussion with them through the whole process. So, and then after that, I need them to come out with the second assignment that is recorded based on the written case study and dialogue conversation. They need to come out with a video role play, because I don't want that if I want to do a case study and dialogue conversation, they just put on the paper. I want them to practice it. I want to see how actually they conduct, because the aim of this course just now is I want to see for the student to be able to talk, to communicate effectively with the client. That is my aim. Yeah. Then after that, they need to present based on the recorded video that they record just now, because before COVID, yeah, what I call that, this course is conducted face to face. In our faculty, we have what we call it a social work lab, yeah, social work lab, because normally we practice there. There is the class I conducted with them, and they can record it in that room also, so that they can do it face to face. But since COVID-19 and most of ours, yeah, the students are back to their own hometown, they need to do it in online, yeah, online. So what I do is my class, I conduct through platform three, yeah, there is three. One is through a Microsoft team. One is we have Telegram group. One is Elite. This one I really utilize it. Yeah, Telegram group is for quick response from the student, and even during this pandemic also, because some of them might be, I consider about the internet connection. Yeah, might be some of them they cannot see it live when their peer present the video role play. I use Telegram group, yeah, so that at least they can few days before that they can see it, what their peer doing it. And then in this presentation, what I want, if this group is done today, there is a discussion, there is Q&A, yeah, from the peer. Why you do this? Why you use this technique? Why? I think this is not a proper way. Your tone is not. That is what I really want from this presentation. Rather than after they send the video role play, that's it. I don't want to be like that. I want them to improve from that. Yeah, so that it's a learning is through process of a mistake. Yeah, then only will be able to know. Okay, this is the good one. Yeah, and then be able for them to practice. And the last, what I do for final assessment is reflection, because I think that reflection is very important for them. What they have been gone through, what they learned through the whole process. And it's a very encouraging, the reflection that they give as a written. This one is as an individual, yeah. But the rest just now is in pair, yeah, two of them, yeah. And how I do my grading and the rubric. Yeah, for this assignment, I just so a simple one on it that is for written brief a case study. Yeah, what I do is I allocate for the brief case study 10 marks. Yeah, the CLO is analyzing counseling skill in practice in appropriate environment. How do I mark it? I look at the structure. Yeah, is it, I allocate 3 marks, if you can see here. I hope that you can see. Is it satisfied? Unsatisfied? Is it moderate? Yeah. If unsatisfied, okay, the way that they write it, I give 1 mark. Okay, and so on with the rest. The rest also is the same thing. Is it the case study is easy to understand, and it didn't show that there is a client there, but they saw in the video there is a client. So that is not matching, because from uh, part to another part, there is a continuous one. Yeah, this is coherent, the logical of it. So also same with written dialogue conversation, because I want to see they be able to apply in the written. Yeah, the written for me is for them as a guideline for them when they conduct their role play. Okay, so far so good, yeah. Okay, hope you understand. Saya tak nak saya sok sendiri. Okay, how the assessment strategic that I conduct here. Actually, if we look at the whole thing, it's like this, yeah. Case study, written dialogue conversation, recorded video role play, presentation, individual reflection. Why I want case study? Because in social work, there is a 3 approach that always when we're working with client. One is casework, another one is group work, and the third one is community work. So in order for the student to relate it, how actually case work, it need to start from a case study. Yeah, because this course, for your information, is before the student, when they're in the final year, they need to do the field work. In social work, we have two practicum. Actually, one is field work and one is internship. Yeah, and for them, because they are in second year, they have to take this course first in order for them. When I in the third semester, yeah, they are, I attach them with many agencies outside, yeah, either old folks home, boys home, children home, NGOs, and also welfare department, in order for them to be able to understand. I don't want them, they are not prepared when they go out, how to communicate when the field supervisor expose them with the client. So that this case study at least kind of a first exposure for them. Yeah, dealing with the casework. That is what I want, and how the casework is written. Yeah, when the case is, because in the context of social work, when I'm working last time, anybody can refer a case to me. Yeah, some is what we call it a referral, and also might be some is client themselves come and see me. So that is how I want the student, because I believe that most of them are fresh from what I call it, from secondary school. Yeah, so they are not be able, because they got the experience. They're facing a lot of problem. I mean, challenges, yeah, with the family, with the schoolmate, whatever. Yeah, so at least they can be able to see. Oh, this is how this case study is can consider as a casework. So that why the case study that they need to come out is social problem. Yeah, issues is complex real life situation. And believe me or not, some of them, during our discussion in the class, yeah, because this class is more to discussion. The early part only I'm giving them lecture about what is the technique, what are the principle behind it, what are the skill that is required for you to be able to be a good listener. That is the aim of it, the good listener, to be able to communicate well with your client. And because again, we need to keep our ethics when we discuss, because we got two rooms. One is individual, one is a group, one is family. So in order for them to have a kind of experience to be able to feel it. So some of them, there are many students, I can say that through my experience, they're sharing a lot of, it is from their own experience. Yeah, but we need to keep, I always said that it's between these four walls, not only two walls, ceiling and floor and another. Yeah, so they keep that, because that is the practice that they need to uphold it. Yeah, so after they identify what is the case study, how it needs should be written. Yeah, for example, the case is referred by someone, or the case is referred, the client come and see me on this day, and the client, because they need to describe how it is, what is the way that the client presenting the case to you. I said it is very important. And then after that is written dialogue conversation, because in order for them to be able to apply it in their written. Yeah, so that require learner to apply the basic principle what they have learned the earlier part. Yeah, might be first week, second week, and third week. They be able to apply. For example, how to start building rapport, how to do paraphrasing, how to summarize, how to do the minimal courageous. Yeah, minimal courageous. I said it's two, verbal and non-verbal, because I hope that we as a social worker not talk much. Yeah, I know that I talk much now. Yeah, and I always said to the student when I'm giving lecture, I say I non-stop at all. When there's so many things input that I want to share. So, but if possible, when we read client, I said we talk less. So our gesture, our body language, is a very important in order for them. The week that you can see here, why I put week 2 and 4, in order I give a time framework for them, because I believe that when we guiding our students, we have to give time framework. What time they need to get ready with this, with time, because otherwise, if we too open, you know that how our student, they will be open to. Yeah, they will say at the end, oh, I forgot this, doctor, sorry, terlupa. Yeah, so that I will keep in reminding them from which week you need to be, how is your development of your, I always ask like that, yeah, how is the development of your assignment and so on. So then after from written dialogue conversation, they need to do the role play, they need to record it, as I mentioned earlier, either online platform or face to face, they need to record. And believe me or not, yeah, I am not good in technology. My students, they are very good. They are very creative. Some of them recorded the role play. Some of them use the motorbike. They show that they're going to JKM, yeah, to show to see the welfare officer, for example, the social worker in JKM. For example, sometimes they show that how they see a UNIMAS counselor, for example, knocking the door, and they are very smart. I tell you, they are very creative. Sometimes they did the drama, yeah, the early part of it. Then after that, after they knock the door, they saw everything and that, yeah. Then the social worker come in, have you sit. That is the thing that I want to see it. I don't want just on the paper. I want them to apply it in the real setting, that is one play as a social worker, one play as a client. And they can chant, because I want them, I want you, the recorded role play, the best one you send to me. But if you practice it, you do it, it's up to you. You need to take turn. I said, in order for your friend to be able to feel that, okay, this is how the client feel. Oh, this is how the social worker feel when they conduct a case in the real setting. Then, based on this recorded role play, they need to present it. As I mentioned earlier just now, in this situation of online thing, sometimes I need for them to give to download in the Telegram, but all the submission is through Ellipse. But for others, in case there is no connection problem on the real day that we want to present it, then suddenly the other friend cannot see. That's why I need to use Telegram. So during this presentation, for example, we have normally I have sometimes it's 25 groups, yeah. So taking a lot of time actually, because I don't want that I just talking, but better for them to see it, they observe it. Then the rest will answer to that particular group. I think that the way that you're asking question is not right. That kind of thing. That is the dialogue there. I want the feedback that they're learning from their peer. And at the end also, I always give my feedback, because I want the student to be interactive, not just like just receive totally what we teach them. Might be sometimes the thing that we beyond our thinking. Also, sometimes the student can ask that. That is how we're going to improve. I always believe that learning from mistake. Yeah, and the final one is the assessment, that is at the end of week 14. They need to be get ready. Normally the submission is either depends on our academic calendar, yeah, 15, but the continuous assessment, I need to do my marking. For example, the written dialogue conversation is before semester break, because at least I got time to checking it, yeah. And then video role play after the semester break, I need to submit it, yeah, so that I got time to see, to watch again and again the video. Did they apply it? And the presentation is the comment from their peer and so on, yeah. The comment during the exit time. At least we have time for them to answer back why they need to do like this, why my body language is like this, and so on. And the end is the reflection. What is the strength or the weakness of the basic counseling that they have learned, and what lesson that they have learned, and how they're going to improve it. And based on my experience, the student reflection is, I can say that is somehow that we can see that in particular, the best student, they're doing it is a very beyond my thinking sometimes, when they do the reflection and how they're going to improve. And sometimes they said they never think that counseling is just like, a simple way of conducting it, but they never think that actually is, as I always mentioned today, as a social worker, we don't have other tools. The tool is you yourself. Tool is ours. We're not like medical doctor. Yeah, they have the temperature. They need to check. I said I cannot do that. Yeah, we just went outside, take the medicine. So this is tool is ours. So I believe from all these things is learning. Yeah, if you can see at the bottom here, learning is derived from learners' experiences. So from their experience of doing it, they will learn something. Yeah. Next. So the important of aspect of this integrated assessment method is, for me, is the process of providing meaningful learning experience, yeah, through the involvement, through the engagement and active learning. Because I see that it's not just because based on my experience when we are still in East Campus last time, Campus Timor, I always give written. Then I found out that it's just like what we can say in Malay, it's just luah balik. Yeah, luah balik letak atas paper. I don't want to be like that. I want them to integrate in themselves, in their personal. Yeah, that is what I want. So the involvement, the engagement, and in with their peers is a very important. It is the process of active learning where involving all learners in assessment activities, then encouraging them to develop a deeper understanding. That is very important. Not just understanding, deeper understanding and how they apply it. Yeah, in their practice, in their conversation, in their communication. The underlying advantages also is to record their development, to know their strength and their weaknesses, to understand how they learn, to develop self-awareness, to plan on development, to learn about self, to articulate skill, learning through others, and to learn from mistake. That is very important. And all this can be constantly updated to the process of doing, recording, and thinking about the experiences that learners gone through. Yeah, and it's about learn about self. This is very important. As I mentioned earlier just now, as I mentioned to the student, you are a tool. I said, yeah, you can get A, you can get B, but if you didn't apply it within yourself, yeah, and again, not all might become a social worker. I said, might be some of you really want to become a social worker. You have to learn about this. And this is some of the thing I give example here. Yeah, some of the group they're doing domestic violence. That is so how they the case study they conducted and how they're doing it. And this is you can see in the Telegram they put it counseling skill, kajian kes penderitaan seorang anak angkat, and some of it is to be I said that is their own experience. That's why during our process of discussion, some students with tear with I'm so happy at least they've released what is inside them. Yeah. So through this course, actually, it's not just about teaching them to get a good mark. Actually, for me, it is a time for them to share. And in particular, during this COVID-19, some of them even online. Personally, to me, they share how they cope at home, the situation at home, and also they're scared with the kind of environment that we've gone through. Yeah. Okay. Hope still bear with me. Yeah. If you got a
Yes,
question,
Dr.
please
Dolly.
ask me. Yeah? Yes.
So far, okay.
So far, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the impact on learners' learning, I can see that, okay, through the way that I conducting my assessment is aligned with learning outcome and mostly is fully achieved. Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier just now, I'm not looking in terms of their performance. Yeah. Their performance, I can say that some of them, yeah, got C, got B. Yeah. It's not doesn't mean that if the way that we're conducting must be got A, because some students might be they just take for granted of doing it 2 or 3. Yeah. So, but I can see that most they are really committed to do the assessment that I designed, because I want it's like a win-win situation. The lecturers happy with it. Our learners also happy with it. It's not just like what I call it, a burden for them. Yeah, it's not a burden for us when we're marking at the end. Then we stress. So that might be the way that we're marking also is biased. That's why I put just now certain time time framework I given this one need to submit this one and this it stages by stages, so that win-win situation. So that at the end the student not be overloaded with a lot of assignment that nearly at the end of semester they need to submit. And also learners learning, yeah, I can see that if you can see that the undergraduate evaluation, yeah, not to say I'm proud, I always got a Chamalang, yeah, it's 98.29, and the comment, the written comment also is a very, it's giving me a motivation actually. I always keep on, as I said, just evolving the way that I'm looking at assessment, how I'm going to conduct, so that because I'm also teaching a field work for them, yeah, where they need to attach a site, where I need to see the field supervisor. There's a lot of things. So let us be able, I can see that apply and demonstrate counseling skill in their role play and be able to choose appropriate technique, which is the appropriate technique that needs to be used in that particular time. Yeah. And also let us be able to apply and demonstrate their ethics, because we need to uphold our ethics. Ethic we cannot see only when they apply it. Yeah. So if you can see that the feedback that from the student here, yeah, is some of them, yeah, the work is the course and the semester itself is coming to the end. I have learned a great deal with this during classes and activities that were shared with us in the short span of time. Yeah. Most prominent, and there's a lot of, like what I said earlier just now, it's a very encouraging, yeah, the way that they reflect themselves after the whole process of the assessment. That's why for me, assessment is not just to evaluate, to measure, yeah, the student progress of achievement. It is part of teaching and learning. Yeah, because for me, that is the way that they're going to learn. So that why every of my class, actually, I don't have so many lecture, because I think that I can do a lecture, but after that, normally I will have a discussion, do a role play. I divide it then into a group so that be able for them to see what we're talking about. Yeah, because when we're talking about theory, a lot of them will either close their eyes or close their ear. Yeah, so I don't want to be that. You need to apply it there. So the underlying, what I'm going to share here through my presentation, the early part just now, we have to remember, maybe this is the way that I conduct it. Yeah, I believe that you are the expert in your subject matter. Yeah, so the nature of your course. Look back at our course synopsis. I believe that some of us are designing it, or some might be our senior before did it. Yeah, we need to look back at that. That is the aim for our CRM actually. Is it this course supposed to be in this way or supposed to be in different way? Yeah, because somehow we are learning. Yeah, the course synopsis we need to look through on it. And what is the aim of this course? Is it like just now, for example, in this course, actually, I always input the student that they need to employ, they need to use that skill in their communication. Counseling is part of intervention, and counseling is their skill. That is what I want to for them to differentiate it, because I don't want at the end of the day they think, oh, when they got the client, yeah, okay, go for counseling. Oh, go for counseling. But the process of doing it, how they communicate, yeah, that's why I want them, as I said, I hope that from this process, from this course, not only they wait until I work later, then I will be applied, but please apply to your home now. For example, might be before this, I said, your mom when say something nagging already, you close, you bang your door. I said, maybe you ask yourself, why my mom is nagging? You know what, you need to be able, why my sister is like this, why my brother is like this. You apply it now. I said, I don't want you just to put on paper. So it's very important for me is the nature of your course. What is your course synopsis? Because like yesterday, I attended the webinar, then we need to look at the whole program. Yeah, what is the program about? And each of the courses, is it answerable to the program aim to produce the kind of graduate that we want? Yeah, so we need to think back of that. So you are expert in your subject matter. If the course is being designed by someone else, because you need to, our time, yeah, before is we don't have COVID, now we have COVID. Like what I said to the student, my experience before when I dealing with client face to face, the first beginning might be they call me up through telephone. Then after that, I ask them to come to my office or I go home to do the home visit. But now I said, yeah, it's through online. So we have to adapt with that. And the same thing also when we're thinking about assessment, we have to adapt with that. Yeah. The second one I'm thinking is our course learning outcome. What is the course design? What is the learning outcome that we want to achieve? Is it clear? Is it not clear? What and how to measure it? What to measure and how we're going to measure. That's why I said when we're looking at our MQF, yeah, the cluster 1, cluster 2. We have to try to think about it. I'm still on the process of adjusting my mind with that to matching with the cluster. So verb we use. I always look at verb that we use. Yeah, is it to demonstrate? Is it to analyze the level of it? Yeah, first year, second year, and so on. Yeah, this one we need to put in our when we design our assessment. And CLO, as I mentioned earlier just now, is it one CLO, one type of assessment? Is it one CLO, many CLO to many type of assessment? But from my exam, there is a danger here because I did what I call it, teaching the university courses also, yeah, because when the course is just designed for what I call it, final exam with one CLO, I see some of the students will be good in continuous assessment, but really killing them, I can say here, when the final exam. They're not really good. It might be memorizing, yeah, because that's why I say I don't myself when I'm a student before I don't like exam actually exam. Yeah, I like to be hands-on thing. So is it written assignment, presentation, project, and Sulam quiz and so on? Yeah. So make sure that the CLO is it we want one type of assessment, two CLO, and make sure that how we grading them. And assessment versus mark allocation. Yeah, is it continuous assessment? Is it final assessment? Make sure that when we put in our course plan, make sure that is what we are conducting to the student. Because somehow I found out because I'm a big member, yeah, some is not written in the course plan. Yeah, the assessment is conducting is different way. So where is this? It's not matching. Yeah, so make sure when we design our course plan and the assessment that the location of mark we put it there is exactly because as I mentioned it is coherently between one and another, and grading and rubric, how many marks that we want and what is the kind of rubric we to allocate, if good, what is good there. Yeah, make sure I said that you are expert in your subject matter, yeah, in your course. So student versus assessment, yeah. And some students might be they're not prefer exam, some might be hands-on. Yeah, we need to look on that because that is very important at the end of the semester, the comment given by the student and even the CLO achievement. Yeah, I always do that at the end of the semester. I need to look back, yeah, their comment, what which is, but I always remind the student by week 14, if my end of the class is week 14, I mentioned, make sure, okay, you need to do evaluation on my course and myself. So that for me to help me actually, yeah, whatever word they use here, jahat or whatever, I don't mind. I said, but that is the way that I'm going to improve my teaching. Yeah, that is the way that I'm going to improve my assessment. Yeah, so to benefit, as I said to, as I mentioned earlier just now, is win-win situation. And assessment instruction, make sure that our assessment instruction is clear. This is a very important. It is matching. If we want this, this is what we want to evaluate. This is the mark that we want. And last but not least is what I can think of is our time frame. It's very important. Okay, for assignment 1, when they need to submit. For second assignment, when? Not at the end, yeah, because at the end, the student, our learners will be overloaded with a lot of assignment to submit. Yeah, not only one paper, like in my course, the student, after another class, they have another class, because we want to train them also how they manage the time, how they manage their work and so on. Yeah, so this is the underlying point that I might be help participant here to think about how we need to conduct our assessment. And as a conclusion, maybe I talked so fast here. Teaching and learning process is for me is including assessment. As I said to you, that why teaching assessment, just not assessment, not just part of the evaluation to evaluate, to measure the student. It is part of teaching and learning. Yeah, and it must be dynamic, line changing and agile current context. Yeah, like what I say before, the student when we conducting this counseling, yeah, this course is face to face. But thank God this semester they are back to campus. I'm so happy with it. Yeah, that for counseling we are back to, though they are second year, they are back to campus, and this is the way that the we're not abandoning the theoretical foundation of teaching and learning philosophy. And assessment is not just assessment to measure, evaluate, but it's the process of teaching and learning. Because through assessment we're conducting, I believe that they will learn something. Because as mentioned, it's derived from their experience. And evidence from the literature also mentioned that there is different approaches indicate that assessment might be support or dismiss learners' motivation and perform depending on the way it is designed, implemented, and used. I think with that, that is the end of my presentation for today. I hope that everyone will get something from it. And if you have questions, we can discuss it together here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dolly, for your sharing about your type of assessment in your class. So, for participants, do you have any questions or do you have any thought on the presentation of the Dr. Dolly? So, I would like to invite all of you to say something or to ask something to the Dr. Dolly, or else I will answer. I will ask the question to Dr. Dolly. So we wait the participant first, Dr. Dolly?
Yeah, sure.
Anyone's? Perhaps if you don't want to ask via microphone, you can state in the chat room so that I will read the question. Anyone's? Okay. No problem, Dr. Dolly. I have a question, Dr. Dolly.
Yes, sure.
Just now you mentioned about the assessment on the, because I think we are in the same area, Dr. Dolly, because I'm a counselor.
Yes.
And I'm the
Yeah.
counseling lecturer. So I think the way of our assessment is a bit similar. So that is why I think I can understand more, and then I can go in depth on the component that you are mentioning in the slide. So I would like to ask you, Dr. Dolly, since you mentioned about you are providing the integrated assessment to the student, which you are providing them the case study, and then they will get they have to write the dialogue conversation, and then they have to record the role play presentation, and they have to do the individual reflection, right? So for the written dialogue conversation, before they did the recorded role play, have you providing the feedback before they are recording their role play? How is it?
Actually, when can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, for the first lesson, it is an introduction about a test work. Because actually, through the process of my lecture, I introduced them already a case study, how the case study is being written, and how we should in social work write it. So that is what I want them before they apply it. They need to learn about it first. And at the end of each of my lecture, I will ask them, because like what I said just now, I got time frame, from this week to this week, I expecting them something. So if they can be able to, what is the difficulties that they've gone through when they're doing the case study, for example, okay, where they start. Okay, for example, some of them I heard this story. This story is from someone else, but I'm scared to share. I said it's okay because we didn't put their real name.
Yes.
Yeah, even in the place. So you'll be able first to understand the case study first, in order for you to think of who going to apply, who going to play a role as a social worker, because they have to form their peer already. The earlier part, the first week already, I want them, please write your name. I don't want to choose, who will become your partner, yourself, yeah. So please jot down in our Telegram who are the partner, so that the list name, your Telegram also be. From time to time, okay, we need to discuss on it. But I don't want that exactly what in particular, because there are a big number of students. Sometimes we have 40, groups. So it's a lot. So what I want is, at least when I discuss one, not in particular in that case, at least they have an ideas how they're going to do it, translate it into what I call it, the conversation. Because
the
why I want
conversation.
written? Because if straight to the role play, the role play will be kind of somehow it's like, it's not as nice. They need to as a guideline for them, a draft, so they'll be able
So
for
you're
them to see.
providing guided case
Yes,
study to the student,
yes,
right?
correct, yes. Before I give a case study, then I found out is some of them, there is a bit hard for them to digest. I can say that this case study is very difficult for me. But based on their experience, they will can see it and then they can feel it. This is how I can see it. And based to the integrated assessment, if you look at our alternative just now, we need to provide the evidence. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. One is the real case study. For me, is that it's a real case study because up from their own experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Second is the rubric is provided, and the second thing is the discipline. I believe in this context is the discipline in social work and also counseling because the two fields are
Yes.
combined together. Yeah, so that why sometimes I use this counseling skill also for the immersive learning, if I'm not mistaken before. Yeah, also can. It's up to you how you think is it the criteria of your course and the way of your conducting your assessment is fall into the categorize. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope this answer. Yeah.
Yes, answer. And then I have another question, Dr. Dolly. So since
Yes.
means you um, the case study, written dialogue, conversation, recorded role play, and the presentation. And after that, I see that you are using the individual reflection for final assessment.
Yes.
Means the similar content of experience
Yes.
based on their previous assessment, on their continuous assessment, you are
Yes.
converting them into a document of individual reflection. It is, and
Yes.
then you calculate and you mark as a final assessment.
Yes. Correct.
I see. All right. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is
Because I
called
want them
integrated
how.
assessment method.
Yes. Correct. How they reflect, yeah, based on the journey that they gone through.
Yes.
Because I did conduct as a final exam last time. For example, yeah, I give briefly explain or describe what is what I call it, minimal carriages.
Mm.
I see that it's just they put back on the paper. I don't want to be like that. But when they do reflection, for example, I think I'm still weak in asking question for the client because
Yes.
I can say that some students they are very open-minded, which is
Mhm.
I really encourage them to be honest to ourselves. I said, yeah, and I'm scared. They said, yeah, at the first, even though that is my friend, but when this is my first time handling this case, I don't know how I'm going to start my building rapport. It's not easy as I can think. But Dr. Dolly is said, easy, yeah. But for me, is I scared, how I'm going to start. Sometimes I don't know. And again, this is online things. This I think this is part and a puzzles of their learning process.
Yes.
Yeah,
So they
yeah,
have to do the reflection on their own experience and then what is the
correct.
feeling, right? So what is the
Yes, correct.
thinking and then what is the
Yes,
um,
correct.
significant
Yeah,
impact that they are gained from that particular assignments.
correct.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
what lesson,
Yeah.
what
What
lesson they
lesson?
can learn, and how they're going to improve it in the
Yes.
future. Yeah,
The strategy
yeah,
of
correct, correct.
overcome that particular things, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I
correct,
think we are in the
correct.
same area, so I think I can understand because I am also asking my
Same
student doing.
language.
Yes, I ask student to do the individual reflection as well because in social work and counseling, the ability of the counselor or the social worker to do
Yes,
reflection is very
yeah,
important in order to make
yeah,
sure them to grow, to develop from that
correct,
particular assessment,
correct.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is another question from Dr. Nurul Huzaima. Hi, Dr.
Okay.
Dolly. Thanks for the very interesting sharing. I am Nurul from FLC. I have a question on the individual reflection. How do you prepare the student for that assessment? And do you need to teach how to reflect, or it is enough to just outline the requirement, share a template? Thanks.
Okay. Because in social work, the part of the component of learning unit in this course, there is a reflection. In social work, we always, what I call that, one of part that the skill require as social worker to think is a reflection. Yeah, reflective reflection, we call it. Because that why I hope that, every component of the learning unit, there is integration of the component of assessment I want them to do. Because when we're talking about self-reflection in part of the unit in my course, yeah, it's about self-awareness. As a social worker, we need to be able to know. We need to be aware always. Yeah, why I do this. It's not just like I always say to the student. Yeah, it's not just like we work from 8 to 5. Yeah, if you work every day, even 10 minutes, yeah, we have must be something. Why I today is like this? What's something wrong with me? This is about yourself, I said. So through that process, through that the sharing, the I can say that the teaching, yeah, the lecture that I give, yeah, the process of it, yeah, be able for them. That why I always explain to them. Each component of my assessment is related to this topic. It's not just it go alone. Yeah, we like what I saying just now. We say like this, but we measure different thing. That is part of it. So that why, like what I'm saying is back again to our course synopsis, the whole thing of the synopsis, the summary of it, and we look at our CLO and look back at our each of learning unit. Yeah, because if you can see the course plan we have, is it this learning unit we want to assess something? Yeah, that one make sure when every tick, tick that we put in the course plan, that is how we're going to measure it. Otherwise, like what I said, we tick but we measure is different thing. The way that our instruction is different thing. It is there is a connection between one and another. There is, I hope that I can be able to answer your question. Yeah.
I think
Thank you,
so.
Nurul.
Thank you, Dr. Nurul. All right. So, anyone else would like to ask question to Dr. Dolly or share any feedback? Dr. Nurul said yes. Thanks, Dr. Dolly. All right. So,
Okay.
anyone else? Okay. So, I think there is no other question. So, Dr. Dolly, thank you very much for your insightful and informative sharing with us for today's. So I hope that this sharing valuable to all the participants in order to empower our teaching assessment in our class. So hope we can see again Dr. Dolly. Thank you very
Yeah, sure.
much to Dr. Dolly, and thank you very much to all participants. Thank you very much, Dr. Dolly.
Okay.
We'll see you
Thank
again.
you.
Bye-bye. Take
Thank
care,
you so
Dr.
much.
Dolly.
Yeah, thank you for the organizer. Thank you for all the participants.